What up, Nigerians? And it's your boy Zolara Baba in the building again. And today I'll be discussing the reason for the unending and prolonged closure of border by President Muhammad Buhari. A lot of people think the intention of the president to have closed this border was to stop importation so that people can be buying local rice. I can tell you that that's not primarily the major reason, right? That is actually to improve the purchase of local rice, improve local local production and farming of rice in Nigeria. But the point is that Nigeria is not yet self-sufficient when it comes to rice production. That's it. That's the fact. And the only way Nigeria has been sufficient in rice production, which is the local rice production, right? Most of these locally produced rice, they have stones or several other defects or several other deficiencies. They have several other deficiencies that will make Nigerians not want to buy. And we all already know the kind of person Nigerians are, right? We know they don't like Nigerians don't like to persevere things, just to better the whole situation of the country, right? Everybody is trying to look for a way out of his own problems, right? And I can't blame them for that. I can't blame Nigerians for that, right? So let's go straight to it. Why has General Muhammad Buhari, who is the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, imposed a prolonged closure of border on this country? It is simply to prevent importation of weapons by the Boko Haram sponsors. Yes, it is simply to prevent that, and in such a way that, because the reason is that Buhari merging up with the likes of Atiku and Tinubu back then in 2015. Buhari, Tinubu, Ribadu, Atiku, Bukola Saraki, and all these guys, right? Before I mention a name, I can tell you confidently that one of these guys, one of these people that I have mentioned, is suspected to be the sponsor of Boko Haram. Has been suspected to be the sponsor of Boko Haram. And that person has been doing this thing, right, to be destabilizing the north, because that person has the power of the south. So he's using that to destabilize the north, so that the northerners will be seeing their northern president that they have, which is President Muhammad Buhari, and whomever the president is, as the problem of either causing Boko Haram himself, or that person is not taking the security of the northern states important. Until Jonathan's time, I can tell you confidently that Boko Haram wasn't this fierce, Until Jonathan's time, during Yar'Adua's time, they were not this boom boom boom. The uproar were not much. But since the death of Boko Haram and since Goodluck Jonathan has been sworn in 2011, Nigeria hasn't been the same. Nigeria has been destabilized in the northern part, right? And before the election, a lot of people were caught with bombs and explosives just before the 2011 election. Because most of these guys, all these Atiku and what's the name, they all form a merge to support Goodluck Jonathan then. And like I told you, that one of them was behind Boko Haram. So that person used that advantage that they are still in good terms with Goodluck Jonathan, right, to smuggle explosive into Nigeria. And those explosives were, and if you go and look at the news back then in 2011, a lot of explosives were caught. A lot of people were caught with explosives trying to smuggle it into Nigeria by the immigration officers and the custom officers. But eventually, Nigerians are not paying so much attention, and Goodluck Jonathan as well was not paying so much attention. It was after he got sworn in, a lot of things were happening to his administration, like they destabilized the administration with Boko Haram things, and he couldn't curtail them. 2015 came, right? Why do you think the good luck Jonathan that was accused of funding Boko Haram or sponsoring Boko Haram or not taking the security of the North seriously, and he was voted out for it? Why was Buhari not voted out for that? I'm not going to lie to you. A lot of people will be saying, 2018 election, Buhari was rigged. And let me tell you, Buhari could probably rig in some areas, but the fact is Buhari got a low number of votes. Buhari got votes, a lot of votes. Buhari got a lot of votes. People voted for him. I'm talking of true votes. Nigerians voted for Buhari, and why? It is because the people, that person who has the power of the South but don't have much of the power of the North, who has been destabilizing the North, is with Buhari. So Buhari only kept cool and laid low for this person, just like as if he is clueless, so that person will be feeling like he's in power or he's in control. So he won his second term election. After Buhari won his second term election, Buhari started clamping down on this thing, on this person. And let me tell you, Boko Haram is running out of ammunition. Just before the NSAS protest, right? Just before the NSAS protest, when Buhari realized that when the army has been defeating Boko Haram, technically, that was when the NSAS protest came up. During the NSAS protest, right, a lot of the soldiers, a lot of the civil defense, a lot of the what are these people? A lot of the immigration officers and customs, a lot of them were chased off the streets. A lot of them were withdrawn from their duty posts, and with that, people were able to smuggle in rice, and not just only rice, but ammunitions for Boko Haram too. Throughout the moment of the NSAS protest, there was no single news of a Boko Haram bomb blast or a Boko Haram killing. Let me tell you, not even the bandits. And since after then, immediately after the what's the name of the NSAS protest, immediately after the end of NSAS protest and the protest has been put on pause, Boko Haram started attacking people again. During the time, Tinubu was unrest, and Lagos State was there were so much up and downs in Lagos State, and people were not able to so much up and downs in Lagos State, and Tinubu had to abscond from Lagos State, to abscond away for his own safety from Lagos State. You would realize that everything were in control in this country. And the only thing that were not in control were the hoodlums. Even though I suspect that those hoodlums to have been sent by the federal government, that those hoodlums were sponsored by the federal government and they were aided by the federal government, right? Against their political enemy in the south. But the fact is, apart from those hoodlums, there were no other thing went wrong out of the control of the federal government in this country during the NSAS protest. Apart from the protesters were peaceful, and nothing happened to the protesters, right? Only the hoodlums that were attacking people, and they were attacking shops, and they were attacking the policemen and all these people. Those policemen they were withdrawn from their duty post, but despite that, there was no uproar, there was no destabilization in the country. Yes, that's the truth. There was no destabilization in the country apart from the activities of the hoodlums that were allegedly sponsored by the federal government. So, back to the border issue. It seems I'm drifting away. I'm having some migraine today, but I still have to do this video so I don't forget. The federal government is closing borders because of weapon smuggling into the country, not because of rice importation. Because Nigerians are in pain now for for the rice that they are not being able to import to Nigeria for the consumption of the people. That's number one. And the reason is because another thing is that Buhari is already aware that he's going to lose a lot of power and lose a lot of influence while in power. So he prepared for this. He knew that people would try to pull a revolution or a revolutionary or protest kind of stunt on him. Right? So he sealed all the borders. So that whenever people bring their madness, it is going to be a peaceful protest. And whenever it is not peaceful, he is going to roll out soldiers. And the only way his political enemies, who were sponsoring most of these protests, can defeat him is to be able to smuggle in weapons. Right? So now, Buhari is doing his best to stop them from importing weapons. And since he has been able to stop them from importing weapons, I think everything is okay now. So the likes of Tinubu and others, they are just going to be languishing. They say they want to break away, they want to break the South away from the North, they will not be able to. Or they want to pull a revolutionary movement on Buhari, they will not be able to. Why? Because Buhari is doing his best to stop the importation of these weapons. And if he is able to stop it properly, Buhari is going to be able to rule Nigeria peacefully till 2023. That's the only way. That's the only way. I want you to pay attention to something too. Look at the wall Donald Trump built in United States. Why do you think he took it so important to build that wall? Why? Because he knew after the election of this 2020 election, he knew there was going to be rigging, right? And he also would want to bring up some radical kind of step. Maybe he's going to nullify the election, or he's going to turn it to pure stubbornness that, oh, I'm not going to leave the seat, or they are going to rig each other out, which is actually going to lead to a clash. And when that leads to a clash or a civil war, the likes of Joe Biden and China and his ally and all American Democrats Party's allies, they would have been trying to import ammunition and weapons into the United States. So that was why Trump built that wall. And with that wall that Trump has built, there will be reduction in the importation of all these, in the smuggle of all these ammunitions in. So any threat that gets posed by the Democrats or Joe Biden and every other what's the name, will be crushed within the twinkle of an eye. It won't be hard for Donald Trump to defeat them. When he was saying a lot of foreigners were pouring into our country, a lot of people with diseases are pouring into our country, a lot of terrorists are pouring into our country, people think Donald Trump doesn't know what he's talking about. But he did. He knew what he was talking about. Donald Trump knew what he was talking about, and that's it. That's just it. That's just it. That's just it. I hope you get the point. So, what I'm trying to put out here is that this border closure might not be. So, for all these reasons I've explained, this border closure, Buhari might probably be closing this border till 2022 to 2023. To maintain the sanity of the country, till after the election, or till after he has arrested a lot of the people that has been suspected to be the sponsors of all these terrorists and bandits in the country. And one of the people that Buhari is probably suspecting, that I think Buhari is probably suspecting to have probably been sponsoring Boko Haram is Tinubu. I don't want anybody to come and file a lawsuit against me, man. So, after that, because one thing is that Buhari will be closing this border till 2023 or till he gets Tinubu arrested. I'm telling you, or till he gets Tinubu arrested. After then, maybe the border could be open, but not until Tinubu is without Tinubu getting arrested. That's, or if they don't, that's even if they don't get him assassinated. I pray they don't assassinate him, or just get him arrested, because he's even a menace to the Southwest. I'm not gonna lie to you. A lot of people don't believe that, but I'm not here to offer you anything. So that's it, sha. So Buhari will be locking down Nigeria. Will be closing down the Nigerian borders till 2023 or till Tinubu is arrested. So that's all I've got to say. Thank you, and I'm gonna see you soon in some other videos.